Coming up on KCPT, we take a closer look at an underestimated killer, skin cancer. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nick Haynes. Stay with us for this local show special as we go more than skin deep.
Principal funding for the local show provided by Francis Family Foundation, Frederick and Louise Hartwig Family Fund, Kaufman Foundation, Healthcare Foundation of Greater Kansas City, Johnson County Community College, John and Effie Spees Memorial Trust, Bank of America trustee, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Commerce Bank trustee, and KCPT members. Thank you.
There will be as many cases of skin cancer in the United States next year as all other cancers combined.
Melanoma is the most rapidly increasing cancer in the United States. And we're in a desperate search for new ways to treat it. But once it spreads, it kills.
In the first few days, I was positive. It's just skin cancer. It's not going to hurt you.
And he told me going through this treatment is going to be like getting run over with a truck, having that truck back up over you, and having that truck run over you again.
But then look what I've also been through. I've also had melanoma. I've almost had my life taken away from me because I wanted a tan.
Well, if the sun is fading the paint on cars, just think of what it's doing to your skin. So why aren't we covering our kids up?
Over the last 3 to 5 years, I have to say there's really been a dramatic drop in the average age of the patient that we treat here.
I walk the beach quite a bit, and I'll see these people, and there's half a dozen people that are burnt to a crisp, and you just wonder how unlucky or lucky they will be.
It's a front-page news story this morning. Veteran Kansas City Royals broadcaster Fred White dies after battling melanoma. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nick Haynes. Every 8 minutes, someone in the United States will be given a melanoma diagnosis, and every hour, someone will die from the disease. And if you live in Kansas City, you may have more to worry about. Did you know that Kansas and Missouri rank among the 10 states with the highest death rates from melanoma? On this special edition of The Local Show, KCPT partners with the producers of the national public television documentary More Than Skin Deep to tell the story of skin cancer. During this 1-hour special, you'll have a chance to speak to area dermatologists at the KCPT phone bank to address your own medical concerns. And we'll take your calls with a panel of medical experts live on the air. Tonight, we expose skin cancer. But to do that, you have to understand it. Here's Skin Cancer 101.
How does sunlight cause skin cancer? The answer lies in those often heard initials, UVA and UVB.
UV rays are light rays that contain energy that come from the sun. UV rays don't penetrate very deeply into the body. The UVB rays don't get very far past the top layer of skin, or the epidermis, which is about 1 millimeter thick, about the thickness of a fingernail. The UVA rays can penetrate a little bit farther, maybe 2 millimeters, but they don't penetrate any deeper than the top layers of the skin. Ultraviolet rays contain energy. So in the case of UVB rays, which cause most of the damage that's related to skin cancer, these rays collide with proteins in the nucleus of the cell, so they interact directly with the DNA and they cause mutations. Ultraviolet rays are hitting all dividing cells in the skin. If they're hitting the cells in a mole, which contain more melanocytes, the mole is going to be at greater risk for developing melanoma.
So moles are the strongest risk factor for melanoma, the deadliest form of skin cancer. And so the more moles you have, the more likely you are to get melanoma. The funnier looking your moles are, what we call atypical or dysplastic nevi, nevus being the term for a mole, nevi plural, the more likely you are to get skin cancer. And many of the melanomas actually arise in a pre-existing mole, so being able to keep track of your moles for any changes is also important for melanoma detection. Melanomas, A, can happen anywhere on the body, B, they don't have to arise in a pre-existing mole, and C, they can happen on anyone. whether they are moly or have the recognized risk factors.
You can certainly have a mole that is changing and that is a melanoma and yet not have any pain whatsoever. In general, actually, most melanomas do not cause pain.
And many times after all these years of seeing patients, I'll say, I feel something here, and they'll say, well, I don't think it's there. And then I take a little biopsy of it, and they're like, well, it's really not bothering me, so I don't need to have it done. But you do, because it will get bigger, it can erode, it can cause ulcers in the skin, it'll begin to bleed. I've actually seen entire cheeks have to be removed because the skin cancer grew so large and still really wasn't hurting or bothering the patient.
The A, B, C, D, and sometimes E's were developed to help patients and doctors be aware of the warning signs of melanoma. A means asymmetry. It means that one half of a dark spot or pigmented spot doesn't match the other half. So if you look at one side, it doesn't match the other side. B refers to the border. And if the border is irregular or hazy, if there's not a sharp demarcation, that's a warning sign of melanoma. Color refers to any color that's not an even light brown, such as black, blue, red, or white, and especially combinations of 2 or more colors are very worrisome. D is the diameter of the lesion, and usually greater than 6 or 7 millimeters, which is commonly referred to as the size of a pencil eraser, is more of a risk for being melanoma. E refers to evolving or evolution, and basically that's anything that's changed in any way, become elevated, enlarged, bleeding, any type of unusual symptoms.
While the ABCDEs are a commonly accepted guide, they don't forecast all melanomas.
So I went online and followed the ABCDE rules, and it really wasn't anything like the pictures that you see online. I think sometimes they put the worst case scenario online, and this was definitely the best case scenario. Even the doctor, even the dermatologist, wasn't too concerned about it. He, scratched it and looked at it, and he said, well, we'll get it off for you, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. Sure enough, it came back melanoma.
Ultraviolet light exposure and the damage from ultraviolet light is really cumulative. It builds up on your skin from the time that we're small children and playing outside. Now, you may not see the effects of that ultraviolet damage until later in life, but it's very important to understand that it's not just the sun exposure we get as adults, but it's cumulative from the time that we're little children outside playing, which is why it's so important to protect our children.
Well, most of your sun exposure, about 2/3 to 3/4, occurs in your first 18 years of life. So you never get that back. Your body never forgets that ultraviolet exposure, and you may pay the price later in life. Even if you change your habits, you can't completely erase that.
Sun exposure is dangerous to children, but in particular sunburns. There's data to show that 5 childhood sunburns doubles your chance for developing a skin cancer later in life.
Our youngest daughter, Colette, had a mole removed. Something that she noticed was changing. It was a mole from birth, and the diagnosis at the time was congenital nevi with a 1% chance of melanoma. I recall her saying, I'm lucky. It wasn't melanoma. Quite honestly, I didn't know what melanoma was. I did not know how deadly it was. Colette, the youngest of our 5, was not a sun worshiper, but she had been exposed to the sun when she was young. I recall her having a sunburn when we took her to Disney World in Florida. And I recall she had another sunburn as a teenager, and the doctors at Sloan Kettering said that's all it took to trigger her melanoma. Obviously, some of our other children may have had sunburns, but given their genetic makeup, perhaps it was not as deadly. We will not know till time passes.
You have a 1 in 50 chance of developing melanoma in your lifetime, according to the American Cancer Society, and the statistics are ballooning. In the last 3 decades, the incidence of melanoma increased by 800% among young women, 400% among young men. Stay with us on KCPT as we continue with more than Skin Deep in just a moment. But first, I want to introduce you to a number of experts in our studio. Dr. Gary Doolittle, who specializes in melanoma and second opinions in cancer at the University of Kansas Cancer Center. Dermatologist Glenn Goldstein, director of the Dermatology and Skin Cancer Center in Leawood. And Kelly Clover, founder and president of the Outpacing Melanoma Foundation. Thank you so much all for being with us. But first of all, are you more likely to actually get skin cancer today than you were if you were living in the 1950s in America or the 1970s in America?
Absolutely. I mean, we're an outdoor society. People work outside, they play outside, and now that they're have some sunscreen to have some protection, they're staying outdoors for many more hours than they ever have before.
So the conditions are different today than they were then, Dr. Doolittle?
Actually, I don't know that the conditions are any different, but our lifestyle has changed. We are sun worshipers. We're out in the sun repeatedly. If you were born in 1930, you may have a 1 out of 3,500 chance of developing melanoma, but the statistics you just read are true. Born in 2013, you have a 1 out of 50 chance of developing this disease.
One of the issues for many people is nobody thinks it's ever going to happen to them. Kelly, it happened to your husband, Richard. He died of melanoma in 2010 at the age of 46.
That's correct. Yeah, just 3 years ago. You know, we were caught off guard, just blindsided, stunned that he was diagnosed at stage 4. We had just celebrated the holidays with family and friends and had no idea that his life was about to be cut short. It was just 7 weeks later that we lost him. 5 years prior, he had a mole on his back that tested positive for melanoma. And the mole was removed by a procedure called Mohs surgery. And we were told that they got it all. It was a small lesion, less than 1 millimeter, and that we should never have to worry. We were told no further treatment was necessary. It was recommended that he go to his dermatologist every 4 to 6 months for a checkup, and he did that, and he did have other suspicious moles removed as well. So, you know, we felt like we did what we were told to do, and I considered us lucky. I never once knew that his life could be in jeopardy.
So you thought you were doing all the right things, and it still happened. How common a story is that, Dr. Goldstein?
It happens. Unfortunately, if you don't catch melanoma early enough, there's a small percentage of people who will succumb to that disease. So we ask people if they see something that looks unusual in their skin to get in as early as possible and have it looked at, because the faster you have it diagnosed, the better chance you're going to have later on.
I have to acknowledge right here on this program, I'm a 44-year-old man with, as you can see, deep, dark skin. I've never been to a dermatologist's office, and one of our producers was saying to me, we have more chance of going to the, taking our pets in to be seen than going to the dermatologists. Very few of us actually go.
Well, the American Academy of Dermatologists suggests that people of the age of 40, if they've never been in, should get in and have a baseline exam and make sure all of their spots look okay.
What does it actually mean to go to the dermatologist's office?
When you go to the dermatologist's office, they'll examine not only your sun-exposed areas, but the non-sun exposed areas as well. And they'll look for moles, they'll look for spots that don't look normal.
Okay, but you're talking about moles. I was doing my own research for this program, Dr. Doolittle, but it says that you can get melanoma in the, it can happen in the eyes, under the fingernails, under the toenails, so it doesn't happen to be a mole.
That's correct. The majority of melanomas actually start in the skin, better than 80% do, but some start internally, some start in the back of the eye. There can be other areas of origin for the disease.
Now, we see that the young women are the main demographic who are coming in with this issue right now. It is the fastest growing group for skin cancer. Why is that?
I think there's been a lot of sunburns in young women. They hear in the literature about what's going on with skin cancer, and they want to make sure that they're not a statistic later on.
So are those the people that are coming into your dermatological office? Is it the young women that are the main people who come in?
Yes,
who
it really
are the clients
is.
who actually do go to the dermatologists?
Well, you know, in melanoma, you have to remember that the peak incidence is between the ages of 20 and 45. That's where we see the biggest number of melanoma patients. And so I would say the bulk of patients who are coming in are young women, and also probably men over the age of 45 or 50 who are starting to notice new lesions on their skin.
Is there a genetic connection to skin cancer, Dr. Doolittle?
Yeah, there are some families that have a genetic link that is passed from one generation to the next, but the majority are sporadic. They just occur spontaneously in an individual. The genetic piece might have to do with the coloring that you inherit. We know blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are at higher risk. Red-headed people are at higher risk. Those that have multiple moles, and if you have a family in which multiple moles are passed from one generation to another, so to speak, you're at greater risk.
Okay. This hour, you can confidentially get your own medical concerns answered by a dermatologist at the KCPT phone bank. They're here to help you tonight. Call the top number on your screen. If you have a broader question about skin cancer that you think others would like to know the answer to, we welcome you calling the bottom number on your screen. That will connect you with me, Kelly, and our two doctors. But before we head to the switchboard, we're told skin cancer is highly preventable, yes. But how do you get folks, particularly sun-worshipping young people, to pay attention to that message?
In the skin cancer community, melanoma is known as the beast, a formidable and deadly foe. But in the general public, melanoma is often tragically underestimated or misunderstood. Experts are trying to spread knowledge of the disease where we are most vulnerable, at play.
Today we're doing our annual mole patrol. We do a skin cancer screening for the people who are here at the beach and trying to raise awareness about skin cancers in general and the harmful effects that a day in the sun can bring.
But I think that's pretty suspicious for basal cell carcinoma.
Yes, and it's not evenly pigmented. Right. I recommend this one be rebiopsied or follow up on.
If I had not gotten checked out today, I probably would have not. It probably would have been a while before I noticed anything because it's on my lower back and it's not a spot that's visible to my eye. It might have gotten worse. So I'm glad that I came in and got it checked out.
Well, one of the things we don't see very much in an event like this are older men. And we know that that is a big problem. When we're in the hospital seeing our melanoma patients, older males tend to show up with bigger melanomas, more advanced, higher risk, and they're more likely to die from their melanomas than the younger people that we see. We actually saw a Clearwater policeman. A lifetime of being out in the sun on patrol had obviously taken its toll on his skin.
I'm Deputy David Littlejohn, and I spend on an average probably 6 to 7 hours daily in the sun. As a kid, I grew up here in Florida, and pretty much during the summer, you got out of school, you put your shorts on, and that was it, off you went. You got a couple sunburns and you figured you were good for the summer, and everything we did was outdoors. My attitude towards sun protection, it 180 degrees from what it used to be. I enjoy a lot of outdoor sports. I used to go on my little boat. Hey, I'm just going fishing for a couple hours, and I wouldn't bother putting a hat on, sunscreen, or anything at all. You know, I'd peel a little bit, my nose would peel, and I didn't think anything of it. But after the diagnosis of the melanoma, it's sunscreen's going on, I've got my big wide brim hat on, I got my shirts on, yard work around the house is done by 9:30 or 10 o'clock during the day. What I'm paying with now is what happened to me as a child. I was always getting sunburned, never gave any thought to it. Well, it's kind of hard now. It's like closing the barn door after the horse is out. Well, by the time these kids start developing the same cancers that I've had, it's too late.
I don't think of damage later on in life.
I do think of how I'll look. My honest opinion, I worry about how I'll look when I'm older. The skin damage itself, what it would do to my body, I don't think of that. The only thing that was really enforced in school is drug and alcohol, smoking, and I have to tell you, I'm 21 years old and I still don't drink. I don't smoke because I know the harmful effects it can have on my body, but I don't remember really learning about sun damage or taking care of my skin.
We need to do a much better job of teaching our kids about sun protection, sun awareness, and sun avoidance. It's when you're a kid that you get your sun exposure. It's when you're a kid you feel nothing can hurt you. We have to teach our kids. I look forward to the day when kids say, Mom, Dad, you're going out without your sunscreen. We learned in school that's bad. That's what we need to get to.
People have been trying to get shades on the playground, at least in this school, for 15 years. It took a while to explain that it's the accumulation of sun. You can get 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here. It doesn't wipe the slate clean. Once you get that exposure, that's permanent. It's in there. The school board was on board. The timing was right. They had money in their budget, and they budgeted $2.1 million to cover all 22 elementary schools in Collier County. Because since the year 2000, we've known that UV radiation is on the known list of human carcinogens, just like asbestos and tobacco. We don't let kids smoke in school. They ripped the asbestos out as soon as they knew back in the 80s. We're still sitting with UV pounding our kids. I want to get the covers up yesterday.
No, we never do enough when it comes to our kids and public health and safety. We do as much as we can, but we're all fighting for airtime in the schools. We can't even get music and arts curriculum in the schools. How are we going to get a message about a disease that you have to prevent now when you're a child, and you won't even see the effects until maybe 20 or 30 years later?
And now, for a special report, go to our health reporter, Olivia.
Thanks, Jim. We're on the beach to ask, what is melanoma?
Melanoma. That's what you get from touching bad chicken.
Man, no!
Melanoma? He's a nightclub singer.
Wrong, baby.
Melanoma is the worst kind of skin cancer. If not treated early, it can be deadly. It comes from too much sun exposure. Now you don't have to do this. Or this. But seek shade between the hours of 10 and 4. And wear your shades. Wear a hat. A big hat. Use sunscreen of at least 15 SPF. This way, you can always have fun in the sun.